Today, the 26th of June, is celebrated as the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking all over the world every year. And today we are very glad to have with us the SP of Mokchung, Sri Vishal IPS, and we would be discussing with him regarding the reason of the celebration as well as everything that is about to follow. So, sir, first of all, thank you so much for your time. The first answer that I would like to have from you is over the years, we have been celebrating the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. All of a sudden, this year, we see a huge campaign that is being carried out by the Mokchung District Police. So, what could be the reason?
Thank you so much. This year being special on account of the fight that the entire world is facing, that is COVID-19 fight. Now, COVID-19 has actually put all of us in some kind of social isolation for a long time. And with respect to indulgence in substance abuses, such kind of conditions may sometime become thriving conditions for people to get into such kind of habits. Therefore, we thought that this time the awareness campaign and the other related outreach programs are to be more vigorous so that the potential dangers from indulging into drug abuse and such activities we can bring to the notice of our listeners. So therefore, the amount of activities undertaken this year are more extensive as compared to the earlier ones.
Well, sir, thank you so much for your effective involvement in all the aspects of law and order as well as social concerns. Now, sir, talking about drug abuse and its illicit trafficking, what is the scenario of Mokchung from the law and order perspective?
With respect to the drug abuse, the scenario in Mokokchung continues to be still very nascent, as can be seen from the records by IMDH Hospital, which handles the cases related to drug abusers. From 2012 till 2020 June, they have handled about 298 people who complained of drug abuses and have been put on a therapy. Now, if we also corroborate this with respect to observations from the Grace Rehabilitation Center, which is in Tuli. So, there also, as per the information, the numbers in Mokokchung district per se has remained constant and has remained almost in a very, very low levels. So, if we couple this along with the number of cases that we have registered in the last 3 years related to the drug abuses under NDPS Act and Drugs and Cosmetics Act, then that ranges to about 15 number. Now, we do not see any appreciable increase in the numbers of cases registered. Therefore, the problem of drug abuse remains to be in nascent stage, and we are hoping that through the awareness campaign and through the extensive activities, we can put a real deterrence to the increase or to any propensity for this menace to come to our district.
As you have mentioned, the total clients registered is about 300. Now, will it be proper for you to say that these people, these abusers, have come under the radar of the police purview or under the police observation due to their drug abuse?
Yes. The people who are registered for these therapies, directly they have not come under any observation of police. But what we have seen from various studies is that people who are indulging in drug abuse, the urge to continuously have their needs of drugs satisfied drives them into criminal behavior. As the time for me in Mokokchung has been short, but based on my experiences as DCP Dimapur, I can say that yes, there is definitely a correlation between the drug abusers indulging in criminal activities like theft, other petty crimes, as well as there are also instances where I have seen that people indulge into some of the more serious crimes in order to gain those financial aspects to really satisfy their desires for drug needs.
What exactly are the penalties entailing those kind of a crime?
There are very clearly defined activities under the various legal acts. For example, I will take you through the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act 1985, which is also known as NDPS Act, which says very clearly that it is illegal for any person to produce, manufacture, cultivate, possess, sell, purchase, import, export, transport, store, and or consume any of these narcotics, drugs, and psychotropic substances, or in simple language, all these substances which causes undesirable effects and which we commonly known it as drugs. There, anybody, as mentioned above, would get imprisonment ranging from 6 months up to 10 years and a fine from rupees 10,000 up to rupees 1 lakh. Not only this, anybody who is found abetting, means helping in such activities, or who is found hatching a criminal conspiracy or even attempting to commit such kind of an offense, will attract similar punishments. Now, even the preparation to commit such an offense would also attract severe penalties. The repeat offenders will be also facing penalties which may go up to even death penalties. And to also make this drug menace a very difficult thing, the law has made it non-bailable, which means that no person accused of such an offense who have got a punishment from the courts of about 5 years or more will be released on bail. So the law has created conditions to make it abundantly clear that drug abuse is very harmful, and anybody who is found indulging by way of either consuming or by way of aiding in the consumption of these, or as mentioned earlier, the sale, purchase, import, export, transport, store, etc., will be dealt with very strictly in the law.
We also have some cases here in our district as well regarding medicines which are being abused by these drug abusers. So, what are the consequences of such sales by the pharmacies and chemists without a prescription?
Yes, this prescription drugs which have similar effects like the illegal drugs have remained in question for a long time. In Mokokchung district per se, there hasn't been any complaint during my tenure here with respect to any of the pharmacies selling such items without prescription drugs. But if I may just take an instance to educate that there are some drugs which are depressants, some drugs like painkillers, aspirin, etc. Some of these are like performance enhancers like steroids, or some of them are like as simple as the cough syrups, the codeine, then Spasimo, Proxivon. So some of these drugs are required for a medical condition, and therefore, as per the law, the medical prescription is required in order to get it purchased, or to even for the pharmacist to sell these drugs. Without these medical prescriptions, if anybody is selling such kind of restricted drugs, then they are also liable to be punished under the Drugs and Cosmetics Act with provisions for punishments in order to deter such loose selling of restricted drugs.
We don't have a place for preparing drugs or cultivation of drugs, noticeably here in Mokokchung district. But we have already seen about 300 total clients being registered with the district hospital. So from where exactly is the drugs coming in to the district?
Yes, the numbers, as I mentioned even earlier, that in the last 3 years we have registered almost 50 cases. Now the numbers of cases registered suggest that towards the Tuli subdivision side, the case registration has been higher. Then we also find that the rehabilitation centers are also located towards the Tuli subdivision. Now there hasn't been an in-depth study as to where is the supply of the drug coming from, but what the data suggests is that during 2020 alone we have about 11 cases registered, within Mokokchung district, wherein about 9 of such cases are registered from Tulli subdivision only. And then in the instances where we have arrested people who have tried to bring in Sposimo Proxivon capsules and drugs which are known as brown sugar, they have mostly brought it from the neighboring Assam district. So this is the present available information, and we are trying to also get into the channel where people are trying to bring this, as well as the source through our organized investigations.
In order to combat inflow of drugs or use of drugs by people here, especially in the district, have you built any strategies to manage this menace?
Yes, we are in fact working on this problem of inflow of drugs into our district, and the result of which has been the relatively more number of cases that we have registered. As I mentioned that already this is half of the year, and we have registered about 11 cases so far. So our idea has been to be more vigilant on ground, so that we are able to make it extremely difficult for anybody who is trying to bring in such illegal items into our district. So there has been a lot of checking, a lot of vigil that has increased in various police station jurisdiction across the district. Then we are also conducting investigation not only in the instant case where the person is found with the drugs, but also in order to understand where is the source of these drugs and what are the different routes that people are taking for bringing in the drugs. Now, the craving for the drugs is as such that even during the COVID pandemic, there have been numerous instances wherein we have arrested people who have tried to sneak in illegally through various bylanes for getting the drugs across the district from Assam side. So thereafter, we are planning to also launch a school and college wide program which will focus on the physical health and also creating the awareness related to the dangers in respect of drug abuses. The idea is to bring in more and more people to the terms that the drug abuse is very harmful and it destroys not only the life of an individual but of the family, as well as it brings great harm to the society in general. Now, in this respect, once the situation becomes normal post COVID-19, we are going to intensify our outreach program to create that awareness. And taking this as an opportunity, I would like to appeal to all the citizens of Mokokchung to come together in this fight against drug abuse and develop our life, our communities, and our identity without drugs. Thank you.
Well, apart from this radio talk, is there any other program that the Mokokchung District Police is doing on behalf of the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking?
Yes. So, with respect to creating awareness also and creating that discussion, what I think is that for any of the illegal or antisocial activities to be rooted out of society requires the discussion or the discourse in the society to start. Now, although this problem is in very nascent stage in our district, but it is the right time. Therefore, we have initiated one essay competition, open essay competition on the topic related to the drug abuse and its effect on the individual, families and society in two categories. One for the school students up to class 10th and second from class 11 to the post-graduation level. Thereby, I am really happy to mention that the response has been very encouraging. Almost 53 people have come forward to submit their thoughts on the aspect of drug abuse and the strategies which communities also can take up along with law enforcement to combat this menace. Now here again, we have also worked with AKM in order to create that awareness by bringing in the pamphlets, by bringing in the content material which mentions about the various kind of drugs, various types of effects that it has, and then we are also requesting that let us all take a pledge.
Just before the interview, as I was having a little discussion with our SP here, I was made aware that the Mokokchung District Police has prepared a pledge And very gladly, he has also consented to read out the pledge so that all of our listeners at the moment could pledge along with him. If not aloud, then deep down in your heart. So here comes the pledge.
The pledge that I take today, I pledge to lead the way by living a drug free life, by being aware about how drugs really harm people, by fighting against the drug abuse, by spreading awareness about the harmful effects of drug abuse, and by working with others for creating a drug free community. Let's develop our lives, our communities, our identities without drugs. Thank you.
That's a very wonderful pledge. If only we could really practice it, not just with our words of mouth, but by action, then our society, our Murukchung district, could always move towards a very clean and acceptable society. Well, thank you so much for your efforts and responsibilities that you're performing here as the Superintendent of Police, and hopefully we will listen to you even in the days to come. Well, listeners, we have had a discussion with our SP, Sri Vishal, IPS, on the theme International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking.
Thank you so much for being part of this awareness campaign. Thank you.